Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and today I'm here to give you a whole bunch of recommendations because this weekend a really exciting readathon is going on. So if you missed the announcement videos, 10 lovely ladies and I are getting together to do a romance takeover buddy read. So basically the point is just to read romance, lighten the mood, kind of get out of the slumps, the anxiety that a lot of us are feeling right now, and socialize and through our love of books. So within that we have 4 genre suggestions of contemporary, paranormal, historical, and science fiction. So you can pick one and kind of hone in on that. You can try to spread all 4, whatever you want to do. It is just a 3-day readathon. So it's from this Friday, April 3rd, I believe, through Sunday, April 5th. And so the goal is just, like I said, to read romance and get something happy going on and get some social interaction and all of that. So I will link the announcement video of mine down below, and you can check that out if you want more details about the readathon. But I have decided contemporary is my jam and I love it, and right now I have no shame in that. So I am just going to recommend a bunch of different contemporaries, and I've got them in categories because I was going through the list and I can't pick just a couple. So I'm going to pick a lot, and so you have tons of choices for things to read with us this weekend. So if you see me kind of looking to the side, it's because I've got a massive list on my computer here of ones that I really wanted to make sure to mention. So first category is going to be Kindle Unlimited. So on Kindle Unlimited, the first one I'm going to talk about is Eleanor and Gray by Brittany C. Cherry. And I read this one somewhat recently, I think maybe for the Kindle Unlimited readathon, and loved it. It's a 5-star book for me. It was about a girl who meets this boy when she's young, and they form a friendship, and then her family moves, and then later she's back in her hometown and she interviews for a nanny job, and lo and behold, it's for the guy that she knew as a teenager, but he is much different, much darker, much broodier, and we don't know why or what happened. And just, she's very bookish, so she's very easy for, I think, a lot of us to relate to, and the chemistry between the two is just so great. The way she loves his kids is so great. I just can't recommend this book enough. So that one is on Kindle Unlimited. Definitely check it out. Next is One Pink Line by Dinah Silver. I read this, I think, also for the Kindle Unlimited readathon, and it's about a girl who's pregnant, but there's so much more to her story, and it's just so good. It almost kind of toes the line between women's fiction, but there is a good romance in it, so I would highly check it out, especially if you love any sort of like pregnancy story like I do. There's also good, it's also in dual timelines, and so we hear about her college relationship, and I think her boyfriend went to University of Kansas, and so I like seeing that little bit of Kansas rep, and yeah, so I enjoyed that one quite a bit. The last one is one that I have not personally read, but it's Heart-Shaped Hack, which is in a part of the Kate and Ian duology, and it's by Tracy Garbus Graves. And so why am I recommending it if I haven't read it? It's because I love Tracy Garbus Graves. I have read On the Island by her, and Covet. Covet, I don't think it's a duology. I think it's a book and then like a novella afterwards. And so those I highly recommend, but those two are not on Kindle Unlimited, I don't think. I think the novella for Covet is, but On the Island and Covet are not. But the Heart-Shaped Hack and the whole Kate and Ian duology is on there, as well as Every Time I Think of You. I haven't read any of those, like I said, but I would definitely say, based on my love of the author, they're worth checking out, and they may be on my TBR. I haven't decided. So those are my Kindle Unlimited readathon or recommendations. Then adult recommendations. I would say anything by Emily Giffin. Her older things are better, in my opinion. Love the One You're With, Heart of the Matter, Baby Proof, Something Borrowed, Something Blue, Where We Belong. Those are all such good romance stories, and again, they kind of toe the line with women's fiction, and you'll find that women's fiction is really where my heart is, and so some of these kind of do toe the line, but they all have romances, so I would definitely check them out, and I would say they count for sure for this readathon. Next is Taylor Jenkins Reid. I know a lot of us, especially lately with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six, we've been reading a lot of her, but her older stuff is a lot more romance heavy, and it's a lot lighter, and not necessarily lighter, I guess that's not really fair because they do kind of deal with deeper topics, but they are great romances. So After I Do is my favorite. Honestly, I have read that one multiple times. It's about a woman and a man who are married, and they decide to take a year break because their marriage is kind of on the rocks, and so they decide to not divorce but take a year no contact at all. And so it's that year, and I just love that book. If your marriage is having problems, it's very relatable. If your marriage is great, it's very heartbreaking. And regardless, at the end, you will be crying. I don't care what your life circumstance is. It's great. So After I Do, Maybe in Another Life, One True Loves, Forever Interrupted. Those are all such good Taylor Jenkins Reid's romance. So check any of those out. And I know a lot of those are on Hoopla. And so I don't know if you have access to that. Maybe check there for the Taylor Jenkins Reid's ones. Then my next one is Sophie Kinsella. Anything by her, I think, is also really an easy romance win. And so some of my favorites are, let's see what I listed. I've Got Your Number, Can You Keep a Secret? There's so many good ones. And that, like, I feel like Sophie Kinsella is the quintessential, easy, lighthearted rom-com type of book. So then Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. You guys, this is another one I read this year and just am like in love with it. It was 5 stars for me. And so it's about a girl, it's again dual timelines. A girl meets this boy and they bond over books. And then years later, she's engaged to somebody else and she comes across this boy. And so it's that story. So just loved it, and can't recommend it enough. Until There Was You by Kristen Higgins. Again, Kristen Higgins is another one that I feel like you can't really go wrong, but Until There Was You was one of my favorites. And then lastly is Renee Carlino. She's another author that I've only read 2 of her books, but I've loved both. And I think she has a couple on Kindle Unlimited, but the 2 I'm going to mention are not. Swear on This Life and Before We Were Strangers are both excellent. So yeah, I would definitely check those 2 out. Now, if you can hear, there's some whining because my daughter just shut herself in the closet. So I'm going to go rescue her and then I'll be right back with more recommendations. Okay, crisis averted. We are back. So that is all my adult recommendations. And then 2 authors that I just want to spotlight really quick that I have only read 1 book each from. And that is Colleen Hoover, and this is the book I read, It Ends With Us. This is a very dark romance dealing with domestic abuse. And then, but I've heard she's got so many good ones too. So Colleen Hoover, I would say check her out, and I might be checking more of hers out. And then Catherine Center. This one is her debut, and I loved this one. And I just have very high hopes for her. And I know I'm going to be reading Things You Save in a Fire soon. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it for this readathon, but so those are 2 authors I want to just kind of spotlight, as I don't know a whole lot about them, but what I do know is good, so maybe check them out. And then last, I'm going to do a couple YA recommendations because I know there's a ton of YA readers on BookTube. So if you are more into YA, there's The Coincidence of Callie and Caden by Jessica Sorensen. And this is a 7-book series. I read number 1 and 2. Number 1, I think, was like 4.5, 5 stars. Number 2 was 4 stars. And then I just didn't stop, or I didn't continue with the series. So I can only speak to 1 and 2, but they were both good. Jessica Sorensen does have other series on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have that, that may be a good option of something to check out. Then anything by Jenny Han. I love the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I loved it, actually. To All the Boys I Loved Before, that series is really great. I love Jenny Han. And then finally, the Did I Mention I Love You trilogy by Estelle Mascom, I think is how you maybe say her last name. That one is a step-sibling relationship, and it's a little taboo, and I really liked it. It's a Wattpad series, and I have it physically, but it was very, very surprisingly good. So if you are interested in YA, there's 3 recommendations for that. Then, finally, if you feel like kind of tucking into a series, which is what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm reading the Happily Inked series by Susan Mallory. And just because I kind of felt like just getting into a town or a series or a community and just like sticking in and staying there for a while, kind of immersing myself in their culture and their life. That's a little more normal than what's going on outside my window. So some series that are great is the Whiskey Creek series by Brenda Novak. I have read that whole series and I really enjoyed it. Icicle Falls by Sheila Roberts. I have not read that whole series, but that one is a good one. Debbie McComber. She is the one that got me into romance, and it was specifically her Cedar Cove series that got me into romance. So if you are looking for that, maybe check her out. And that, I think, is a mini series or else a full series with Andy McDowell. And I have never watched the show, but if you want to maybe read a couple of those and then watch the show, that would be good. Her Blossom Street series is also very good. It's sewing, I think. I don't think it's knitting. I think it's sewing. But so if you're into that kind of crafting, that one is a great one. The I Heart series by Lindsay Kelk. I Heart New York. I Heart Hawaii. I Heart LA. I'm not sure the whole series where all she hearts, but those are very good, and I have read some of them, but not all of them. So that is also on my someday TBR. And then finally, The Girls of Mischief Bay by Susan Mallory. So that's a trilogy, I think, so that could be doable in this weekend. The others, I think, are all longer, but anyway, so there is a ton of recommendations for you if you are looking for something to read this weekend that will just kind of, some of them are lighter, some of them are darker, but regardless, they're just a good romance that you can put your heart into and just kind of escape into and enjoy this weekend. And whatever you choose to read, let me know. If you are going to participate, please just drop me a line and let me know you're going to participate. If you have a TBR, let me know. I would love to watch it or hear it. And that's all. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you this weekend. Bye.